Well, hello, you gorgeous mother truckers. You're welcome to another video. Right then, so as another perfect example of what I was talking about in the my channel be gone by Christmas thing, it's amazing how when you pull a video out that shall we say attacking reform, that one starts to gain traction. Funny that, isn't it? Oh, and the one that on my channel will be gone by Christmas is doing well. So one that's sort of saying that I'm going, and another, or potentially may end up having to go, and then one that attacks reform, which of course isn't liked by the establishment. Of both those videos doing really, really well. It's absolutely stunning, isn't it? It's amazing. Almost as if what I said in that one is true. Now, this is going to be about that particular reform video, because I've done a few reform videos before, and shall we say, although I do get some people going, oh, I agree, I get a lot of very negative comments. So when I did this one in particular, I thought, well, I know what's going to come, I know what the reaction's going to be. I'll just go and grab my popcorn and a nice can of Pepsi Max, and sit back and get ready to take the abuse, because on my channel there is no comment moderation. What you say is what's there. If it goes again, it'll be YouTube, although I've got some things to say about that in a different video. But in any case, so it was to my pleasant surprise, but also my interest in the fact that the vast majority of comments, in fact I've only had really one strange one and one not really that negative. Other than that, there's been a change, and there has been a shift, because so many of people who commented agree. So many people have said, well, actually, yeah, you're right. Some people have said, and I kind of get this, you're right, but I'm still going to vote reform because there isn't anything else, which again is a bit of an inaccurate statement. But I get the sentiment, and as I always say, I don't blaming anyone, because I understand how people feel. Now, the only ones you've thought, well, the usual one is, well, if you do this, you do that, you're going to get Labour again. What? Well, just why does everybody have to say that? Because you dare question, because you dare say anything, you're going to, oh, well, that's it, you just want Labour back in power. No one wants Labour back in power. No one has any interest in getting Labour back into power. And I'm afraid, irrespective of no matter what everybody else does, don't think Labour's going to get back in power, unless, of course, even less people could be asked to vote, because this is the biggest issue that this country faces, apart from the fact that it's difficult to realise who to vote for, is the fact that irrespective of, even if we have a really good candidate and a good party, it's trying to motivate everybody to actually get out and vote, which again, we'll talk about that, and I have already spoke about it, but we'll do it again in another video, because I think it's quite critically important that that's something else we need to address and take a really long, hard look at. But there's oh, and then somebody else said that the best option's actually Corbyn. Right, yeah, that'll be. I've done a video on Corbyn's new party, if you look back, and I have said that people will ignore it and laugh at it at their peril, because it is it's a dangerous thing, and it's a dangerous thing because it will garner support with Corbyn's base, which is terrorism. Jeremy Corbyn is a terrorist-loving scumbag. So no, Corbyn is. If you think the Corbyn government would be better, yeah, you'd have Sharia law before you know it and things like that. So no, it did not really. But again, I understand. See, the thing is, I can't and won't ever tell people how to think, or, for instance, in this case, how to vote. It is up to you. I would just, the only thing I would bang on about is the actual principle and point of actually getting out there and actually voting. Because you've got a Labour government that's in charge, because in reality, over 60% of the populace just didn't bother to vote. That was even if half of them had decided to vote for somebody else, the result wouldn't be as it was. It's simple as that. You know, and voter apathy is one of the things, and I get it. I absolutely get it. But if you vote for who you want to vote, and anyone who says, "Oh, you shouldn't vote that way, you can't vote that way, don't vote that way," you have no right to do that. Okay, it's a personal decision based on that person. You can say that you think it's wrong, and you can say that you think it would be a bad idea and a poor choice. Yeah, but you should never try and lead people. No matter how much you want sometimes to grab them by the scruff of the neck and say, please, 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 will you just wake up? Which is what I do on a regular basis. But I am slightly heartened by the fact that the overwhelming comments of people agreeing with me. And the thing is, I will also, I'm so sure somebody will eventually go, well, who do you suggest we vote for? You vote for whoever you want to vote for. I've come to the conclusion that unless something comes out of left field and really does give us a genuine opportunity to do something and make a change, I honestly don't think we're going to be able to vote our way out of this. And that's a terrifying thought. One of the comments somebody put was, the problem is we're lost, and it could turn into civil war. Well, let's be honest. First, the government itself and the elite are engineering this to make it a civil war. They're basically forcing us to have no other choice. It's what they want, which is why they'll keep paying agitators to stand up against racism. Paid, remember, they're paid agitators, 100% proven now, to deliberately stir things up. That's what they want. They want violence, because as soon as you go to violence, they can slap in any old law they want and you're screwed. So they win either way. But I can also see the fact that there is no alternative. There's no real. You can't look. My humble opinion. As I said, you do as you wish, and that's your choice. And if that's what you do, that's what you do. I mean, I'll even say that about people who actually voted Labour, you fucking morons. The more spectacular ones, of course, are the ones who voted Labour because they wanted to stick it to the Conservatives. Well, you stuck it to the entire country. Thanks very much for that. Congratulations. It's just... I can't see anything other than it turning into violence. And I know that's not what none of us want it. Who would want that? Well, no, I mean, there are certain people who would really, really want that because that's what they live for. But the problem is you're being put between a rock and a hard place. Everybody, we all know, on our side pretty much, we all know that they're trying to push us into a civil war, so we don't want to give them what they want, but then we'll be given no choice. See what I mean? It's difficult. We live in such difficult and confusing and frankly frightening times. It's as scary as hell out here at the moment. Thank you to our American allies, who are probably the only people really paying attention and saying, oh this and oh that, and helping, and that's much appreciated. If you could do some more help, like perhaps sending the US Marines in, that would help. I mean, I've just heard someone, I can't remember his name, Kevin somebody, used to be an ex-immigration official, twat in other words, who's saying we should not allow the police to police these demonstrations. It's time to call in the army. Yeah, because there's nothing more totalitarian than replacing the police force that isn't a police force. It's Labour's stormtroopers. Nothing but replacing them with people like soldiers who are armed, because that's what'll happen. And that again this is the next ramp up, isn't it? Ever watch the film V for Vendetta? Yeah, exactly. You see, those of you who've known me a long time have known that I'm a film buff, I'm a TV buff, and I love this. And no one ever thought that the book 1984 would be real and relevant, would actually be used as a manual. No one thought that the film Demolition Man would turn out to be true. No one thought that the film V for Vendetta would turn out to be true. You see, there's a lot to be said about these sci-fi films that point out the bleeding obvious. You wouldn't believe it, would you? You really wouldn't. I'm just hoping War of the Worlds doesn't come true. Although, then again, at the moment... So it's interesting, as I bring this video to a close, to see the shift. To see the fact that a lot of people... The English lion is waking up, and it's waking up and noticing a lot of things nowadays. And it's realising that it's been led up the garden path for a long time. And don't just think this is just a recent event. I mean, somebody said, "Oh, you know, we got to vote for reform because at least they can't be as bad as the other people." Well, the thing is, that attitude is how we've been doing for the last 60 odd years, and look where it's left us. We've got to stop accepting, oh, that will do, because it never does. And I know some people will say, oh, you know, you're just splitting the vote. I'm not splitting the vote. I'm just drawing your attention to the fact that what you think is a good thing is not a good thing. What you think is your saviour isn't. And my biggest alarm call for that was when the media started pushing how good reform are. There's your alarm bell straight away, because the parties that actually talk the common sense, like your UKIPs, don't get anything. But reform get a lot of TV, and I wonder why that is. Any case, enough of that. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks very much for commenting on all the videos. The comments are actually managing to get through. I don't know whether it's a bug or whatever, but we'll talk about that in another video. There are ways to support the channel down below, and many humbled thanks to those people who do and do everything they can to help support me and this channel. It's very much appreciated. I will carry on giving you as much content as I can for as long as I can, and that's all I can do. And if I know I only get 200 views, it doesn't matter. A lot of messages that come on that video have just put things into perspective for me. I know I only seem to do it every now and again. It's because doing this can be demoralising, it can be depressing, and you can feel like you're banging your head up against a brick wall, and because you don't actually see any sort of tangible tangible results from what you're doing, it can be difficult to keep yourself motivated. But I've got a wonderful bunch of gorgeous mother truckers who are honest. They give their opinions. I take their opinions on board, and the support you show me has just been absolutely magnificent. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do. I will keep going as long as they let me. And if they have to, in the end, YouTube has to shut down the channel, I will move to somewhere else. I will go on Rumble, and I will keep going. Never going to silence me. I might get a bit fed up of it, but you're never going to silence me. Any case, I'll see you in the next one.